fellas. I know we're missing the captain. I still fingers crossed he's gonna jump in at some point because I know he was very heated about this movie.
Comment on that real quick. He talked a lot of shit about how he's gonna lay the smackdown. Me and Fred this week, and he no-showed.
Yeah,
just goes to show
leaving
you.
Me hanging.
Just goes to show you that he was scared.
The man's got to work.
Didn't want any of the smoke.
The man's got to work. You leave him alone.
Yeah, all right.
He's leaving me all alone. He's leaving me all alone right now.
The amount of shit that he talked, you got to show up.
It was a lot.
A lot. He's gonna lay the smackdown on me. I didn't know what I'm talking about.
Well, it'll be up to me, I guess. I never said I was gonna lay the smackdown on you, but I digress.
That's what I'm saying.
I digress. What's going on?
Got scared and didn't show up. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh. Is someone gonna message him and let him know?
I'll fucking send it right now.
Send it to him. Let him know. Let him know. They think that he's running into the boots. And in the meantime, what's going on, Gen Nation? Let me fix my headset.
Paper champion.
What's good?
We got Zuplex. We got Scythe. Oh, Scythe, let me get your logo up and running. Mr. Buttersworth, welcome. Thank you for jumping in. Let the train wreck begin is absolutely correct. Real quick, while I'm getting the logo set up and while we're seeing if we can get the captain on here, some big news came out in the video game movie adaptation front. It's actually a TV show, not really a movie. We got a new show coming to Amazon Plus. Oh, I'm sorry, Amazon Prime, that's based off of the God of War franchise. That is huge news for me, anyway. I'm a giant God of War fan. The new one in particular is one of my favorite games. Quickly became one of my favorite games of all time, and I'm so excited to get a show based off of that franchise. It's long overdue, to be perfectly honest, because that's right.
It just shows Sony's commitment to continuing its trend in making adaptations off their video games, their exclusives.
Absolutely, they have so many new things coming out. Hi, mwah. Can you guys see her?
Like God of War.
She's on camera. You want to say hi real quick? Yeah. Real quick, okay? Let's say hi. Can you wave to everybody? Can you say hello? Right into the microphone. Can you say hello? Did you have fun? We're about to start yelling at each other about the Batman. You know that? Okay. You're just being shy. All right, go to Mama.
I'm not being shy.
You're not being shy?
No.
Okay. Bye. She's waving bye.
Later.
Bye.
Good. You're so cute.
I think God of War is definitely a game that needs a show. I don't think a movie would do it. It's similar to Witcher.
Yeah.
Witcher works better as a show. I think God of War would work better as a show.
I agree.
It's a good movie.
Now let me ask you a question though. Do you think that they focus solely on the storyline from the newest game, or do you think that they go back to the beginning and do the classic Greek games too?
It depends on how many seasons they have planned out. Yeah. If it's going to be like a couple seasons, like a short run 3-season series, they might stick to the current stuff.
I feel like the latest game is kind of more ripe for a show. You know what I mean, with the whole relationship with Kratos and his son. But I do feel like, just for action purposes, the first 3 or 4 games really had a lot going for it. You know what I mean? I kind of want them to stick with the newest game, to be perfectly honest. I'm a big fan of the old games. They're violent and all that kind of stuff. They're fun. The books are great and all that kind of crap. Mwah. But good night. But the newest game in particular, to me, is just perfect. So real quick before we get, I want to talk real quick about who we think should play some of the characters in God of War. But Buttersworth just threw out there that Zuplex, he wants you to start off with your Batman opinions, and then everyone else will start talking. Sheepdog KU just said no one needs the captain. Let's run this. All right, so everyone's itching for a Batman. So real quick, or for Batman. So what do you think? Who do you think should play Kratos in the new game? Hey, you gotta go
Tom Holland, because he's everyone now.
If Tom Holland is cast as Kratos, I'm gonna lose my crap. I'm literally gonna boycott.
If they go old Kratos, like the older father Kratos, I think Gerard Butler would be a good choice.
Gerard Butler would be a good choice. Dave Bautista, I feel like is your obvious choice.
Yeah, Bautista.
And I feel like
if they go with their first 3 games, Bautista would be good. If they go with the newer games, I think Gerard Butler.
Well, either way, I mean, even with the new game and the newer games, Batista, he has the acting depth to really pull off those like just kind of quiet moments where he's trying to reach out to his kid. So I feel like Batista, either way, is a good choice. Gerard Butler is only good if you go with the newer games.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, I mean, if you go with the older games, you definitely need someone who maybe like I don't know about Michael B. Jordan, but you need somebody who's kind of younger, I think, to really play those characters with the anger that they want. Maybe the guy who played I can't say his name, I don't want to butcher it. The one who played Black Mantis in Aquaman, he might be a good choice for a younger Kratos if you go with the old school games.
It's not a bad idea.
But anyway, everyone. So Sheepdog says Batista would be dope, and if it's not Batista, he doesn't want anyone playing Kratos. I kind of agree with you, but that's not what we're here. We didn't come here for no one came here to listen to us talk about God of War, because I could talk about God of War forever. So we're gonna get right into the main attraction here. We're talking about the Batman. Jason, Mr. Buttersworth says he thinks Momoa would be okay also for God of War for Kratos.
I hate that idea.
I don't know if I like him as Kratos, to be honest. He could be in the movie. Let him be Poseidon, so Kratos jams his thumbs into Poseidon's eyes. But I don't know if I want him for Kratos. Buttersworth, I'm sorry. But the Batman.
Right,
We're
so
here.
I'm really going to start this off.
I think the negative Nancy should go first.
I can start it off, but Zuplex, your opinion was requested. So I mean, I feel like the fans have spoken, and I need to honor the fans by letting you go first.
I'm okay with it. I'm going to go with what I didn't like about the movie first.
Okay.
It's not too long of a list.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Let's start off real quick with just like an overview of what we felt. And then I have images for all the characters. We'll kind of go in depth, character by character, so on and so forth, and all that kind of stuff. So give us your as you were already doing it anyway.
Okay, this is the most comic accurate Batman we've seen.
Bullshit. Go ahead. Sorry.
Pulled a ton comic storylines across the pantheon of Batman. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
They pulled a lot of stuff. They did a lot of things a lot of storylines that I didn't think they were going to touch.
I can't wait to hear this.
I mean, listen, it's there. I have stuff to back it up. I don't know if you watched the same movie that I did, but
I know you have stuff to back it up.
They didn't.
I have plenty of so like wait, hold on. I don't want to say John made it seem like we absolutely hated the movie. I can't speak for him, but I could say that I didn't hate the movie. It was a good movie. I personally just think that it's a little ridiculous that this movie is even in the same conversation as The Dark Knight. It should be in the same conversation as Batman Begins. I'll give it that. I would say it's better than Batman Begins, but The Dark Knight, no, not even close. Not even close.
In my opinion, it's not better than The Dark Knight as a movie. The Batman that we got in this movie, in a year two Batman, it's a better Batman than we had in The Dark.
See, I really just don't agree.
Agreed, 100%.
Oh, so first off, we all love The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's the best Batman movie ever made. No, we don't have to keep going over that. We all know, and you've agreed also that Affleck was a better Batman than Bale.
Yes.
Oh, Bale was not.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Oh, you gotta fix that.
What just happened here? Hold on. Let me fix the camera.
All right. What were you saying, Carmine? Go ahead and start it. Go ahead.
Where was I now? I lost my train of thought.
It doesn't matter where you were, jabroni.
You say you up for that
How about
one.
that? I'm tired of this guy.
Hey, John. You want to go first? Go first, pal.
Bro,
He clearly wants to go first.
You know what, dude? I told myself, as much as I want to eat your heart for dinner, I'm going to let you talk for 15 minutes and end you in 2. Go ahead so I can eat my dinner. I'm entirely too pretty to get this mad. Go ahead. Sucker.
Right. So as I was saying, we were comparing it to The Dark Knight. I think there's no comparison. I think that The Dark Knight is a better movie overall.
Oh, thank God you're not that dumb. Go ahead.
Is a more comic accurate Batman than The Dark Knight, though. Okay. You can roll your eyes all you want, but it's true.
But it's not though. Ben Affleck was the most comic accurate Batman. Come on.
Ben Affleck is on par with Affleck. He's on par with Affleck's Pattinson, I thought, did a job as Batman.
He did a what job?
He did
A
an
shit
okay job. Okay.
Okay,
Did
sorry.
a great job as Batman. For year 2 Batman, which is the version of the Batman that we were supposed to get. Okay. Year 2, it definitely borrowed a lot from Zero Year.
Okay.
So anybody that's read Zero Year can obviously see that there's a lot of ties between Zero Year and this movie.
Okay.
That was a version of Batman. I know a lot of people are complaining about his version of Bruce Wayne.
His version of Bruce Wayne was barely in the movie. Let's just even skip that one.
But it's not supposed to be in the movie. It's the point. Because the
Yeah.
year 2 Batman is completely immersed as being Batman. That Bruce Wayne almost doesn't exist. Touched on it in this movie. A long-time Batman trope that I've been waiting for a movie to touch on. That Bruce Wayne doesn't really exist. Batman's psyche. Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Didn't Batman Forever touch on that? Or am I making that up?
Kind of in like the most not really type of way, like where he was talking to Nicole Kidman on the couch.
Right.
He was like, I don't know, maybe I'm not really a Bruce Wayne. Like this really delved into that theory and that idea that this movie delved into the psyche of Batman more than any other Batman movie had.
Okay.
Really appreciated because it's something that is always brought up in the comics, and has not been touched on.
Okay.
In movies.
So far, you're not impressing me. You're not telling me anything that makes me go,
Nah,
okay, maybe you're right.
I fell asleep 5 minutes ago, but go ahead.
What else?
Listen, I was asked for my thoughts on this. I'm
Yeah.
giving my thoughts on.
Yeah,
it,
keep
right?
going.
And I thought we were going through. You said overall thoughts on the feeling of the movie.
No, you're right. I said that. Buttersworth is asking.
I apologize. You put us to sleep, so we lost what the question was. Go ahead.
John Buttersworth in the chat is asking us to let the man speak before we put our 2 cents in.
I'm sorry. It's hard. It's tough. Go ahead. Fine.
Overall, I think Matt Reeves did a hell of a job with the writing and the directing of this movie, bringing us a story that was very original. Story that
I can agree with that.
Haven't seen a story like this in any other Batman movie. Dark Knight a little bit, Dark Knight was, the Joker doing his thing and everything like that, but Dark Knight's loved because of Heath Ledger's Joker. It's not loved because of Christian Bale's Batman.
It's loved because of Two-Face, though, also. I mean, it's not just Heath Ledger's Joker.
It's mainly Heath Ledger.
You only say that because Heath Ledger died.
No.
But I would argue Two-Face's whole story arc in that movie is a lot better than the Joker's. The Joker didn't have an arc. He started off as a bad guy.
The acting is better. The Joker's acting is better in the movie than Two-Face's.
Yeah,
So
way better.
Oranges,
The Joker's acting is way better than the Riddler, too. Oh, excuse me, I was supposed to cough when I said that.
If you don't have Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight, we never talk about The Dark Knight like we did.
Not at all.
Fact.
Not at
It is
all.
a fact.
Yeah, and I will tell you right now that we're not going to be talking about this Batman movie in a year.
I disagree.
I think we will be.
Yeah, because they're going to announce a sequel, not because this movie's that great.
Right, so that was my overall feeling of,
right.
of the movie. We'll get into specifics soon, but
What about you, Scythe?
John.
Overall feeling, it's number 2 on my list of Batman movies. This thing far exceeded my expectations, and I was thoroughly impressed on how Pattinson handled the role. Now, granted, I still have him below Affleck. I don't think he's the best Batman, and just like his character, he's still learning to be Batman. I thought that just in general, everyone in the cast was just phenomenal in their roles. Everyone played a part, and everybody they nailed their performances. Like Penguin, Riddler, Pattinson, Gordon, like even Falcone, like they were all just phenomenal.
I mean, they were all good, but
What is this?
My name is Wade Poole. I love Twilight.
Oh my god. Yeah, so to me, this movie, like Wade said, it's not better than The Dark Knight as a whole, as far as a movie goes, but it's the best Batman movie we've gotten because, like we were saying, the Joker was the star of The Dark Knight, not Batman. And Pattinson just like he nailed it. He nailed it in this movie. I don't know what else to say other than me diving into each character.
Yeah,
as
well,
we go.
hold on, before we do it, so John, so you clearly, obviously you weren't a fan. Were you? Now, would you say, John, you're the captain, I'm sorry, would you say you weren't a fan, or you liked it, but just wasn't as good as everyone says it is?
There's more loopholes in my fellow colleagues' stories here than we have with the CDC guidelines in America currently, guys, okay?
Here we go.
So let me just, since I'm clearly the villain here, even though based on Wade Poole's appearance, he should be, but I'll play the villain card. So here's the thing. For anybody who's actually read the reviewer synopsis, as they call it, from Scythe and from Zuplex, right? They broke down a lot of things. They talked about the movie, the originality. I actually agree with that. I think it was a very fresh take on the Wayne family. We've gotten the same regurgitation of the parents dying, they get shot by a guy, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
We never really got the Arkham family. Totally fresh. Reeves killed it. Love that. You just said that Heath Ledger was the star of The Dark Knight and we wouldn't have talked about it otherwise. If you think we're talking about Batman because of Pattinson, you, my friend, need to be drug tested because we're talking about it because the Riddler. That's the sole reason we're talking about it. We're not talking about it because Pattinson's Batman left me desiring Ben Affleck back. And I want Ben Affleck as much as I want to be kicked in my nuts, okay? So I'm letting you know that...
I think we can all agree on that.
But here's the thing,
okay,
though.
but you just said... So this is how I'm going to prove all the fugaziness in 5 minutes.
I don't agree with that though.
I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna play off Wade Poole because it's my guy. I love him, so I'm gonna play off of him. Right? He gave me a little bit of ammunition. I happen to turn it into a heat-seeking rocket. Okay. Here's what he says. Here's what he says.
For this,
he says, "We got the greatest Batman detective that we ever got. We got the greatest. We got." Did you not say that?
Said it's true.
Okay, thank you. Don't shake your head no. It's very confusing, okay? That's what my wife does during a conversation. You can't shake your head no, but you agree with me. You can't do that, okay? I have to also, I'm easily confused. 3 cells, let me focus. Then 2, okay?
Easily distracted, apparently.
Easily distracted. Squirrel. So, number 2, okay? We talked about... Can I?
Distraction. Distraction.
Distraction. Squirrel. Okay.
I'm referring to what you said
Listen,
about me.
Number 2, okay? Number 2. We talked about a year number 2 Batman, and we talked about his iteration of it and how he was supposed to be so submerged in the whole I am Batman right now and nothing else matters, whatever. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you read a comic book of Batman where Batman was emo?
Year 2, I guess, or year 1,
Batman
right?
comic.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What happened?
0 year. How many Batman comics have you ever read, John? 0?
Give me one. No, don't spin it back at me.
0 year. Year 1. Year 2.
He was emo.
From Halloween. How many more emo Batman do you need, bro? He's emo and he's known as the moody superhero.
I will say,
what are you talking about,
I will
bro?
say his whole
All
mood.
you've done right now, John, is prove that you've never read a Batman comic. I'm done with
He's
you.
never shown up with mascara on, been depressed. Never.
I will say, hold on. I will say, in Carmine's defense, Michael Keaton did have eye makeup on, but they were smart enough to wipe the eye makeup off before he took his helmet and his mask off. You never saw him,
so
which is like.
And by the way, I interviewed 20 people and asked them, and I'm going to release the names. They're all GGEN members, okay? And I asked them all based on their idea or ideology of Batman. right? What would you say Batman is to you, and what do you go looking for? They say obviously detective, right? But that's kind of last in line. They say somebody who is a millionaire, billionaire philanthropist, can be pretty enough to get a girl, but at the same time can convince you, if he happened to be in a room or a dark alley, which you don't know, he'd be in a suit, could also defend himself against enemies. If Robert Pattinson walks into a room with me, I'm beating the shit out of him. Okay, dude? When the guy took his shirt off, it looked like he hadn't hit the gym in his life. All right? Zero muscles.
Hold up. I can counteract everything you just said.
Wait, we'll get there. We'll get there. Hold on. Hold on here. I gotta control this here. I gotta control this.
Don't control anything.
Go ahead.
It's already off the rails.
Tell me how many
GGEN
emo
members?
Batmans with no
GGEN
muscle
members?
beat everybody up. Go ahead.
Members, listen up. I'm gonna break something down for you. Okay, the 20 mystery GGEN members that John interviewed. I want to know how many of them have actually read a Batman comic. It's for you to say the detective aspect of Batman should be the last thing about him is insane. Absolutely.
Wait. Hold on. Carmine, I gotta jump in real quick. Sheepdog in the chat just pointed out that Pattinson did appear to have scoliosis when he took his shirt off.
No, that was in comic number 4, article 5. You didn't read the comic?
Listen.
The Batman has scoliosis, the Evo one. Get in line.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Zuplex.
Relax, John.
He's fired up. He was for the record, everybody, he was this fired up when we walked out of the theater.
Bro, because the detective part, you're not hearing me. Bro, I didn't
get to the other parts. I didn't get to the other parts yet. Let me refute your detective part first. All right, tough guy, relax.
No, you simmer down, tough guy.
But didn't he detect in The Dark Knight? Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he cut out a bullet hole from brick and then put it all together using his detective skills to figure out a fingerprint?
Only detecting we ever saw him do in an entire trilogy.
All right.
It's so mind-boggling right now how you can think this guy had any detective work. The first riddle, Alfred solved. The second riddle, Alfred solved. The third riddle, people were dead. The fourth riddle, the city was buried underwater. Suck my balls. He didn't solve one fucking riddle, my guy.
He solved the riddles. Alfred helped him with deciphering the extra coding that was in the riddles.
He literally failed at the end of the movie. The Riddler looks at him and goes, I gave you too much credit.
Year 2 Batman, of course he failed.
Wait, hold on, real quick.
Year he failed.
Real quick,
Year 1 he failed.
Sheepdog is asking for everyone else's opinion. So just as a recap, Sheepdog, Zuplex, who's right over here, he loved it. ScytheX, who's right over here, on this side, he's right over here. He loved it. John, who you've been hearing rant for the last 20 minutes or so, really wasn't a fan of it. I enjoyed the movie, but I didn't feel that it was as great as people are saying. It's not in the same. It's not in the same stratosphere as The Dark Knight for sure. And then
you're on the fence.
One shot over here. Didn't even go watch it because he just doesn't like Pattinson. So he can't tell us his overall opinion just because it's already negative.
I'm so tired of Captain Literal Man, who picks up a fucking comic and tells me you don't know year 2 and what he did in the shower. My guy, listen. I'm watching a movie and I'm seeing an actor. I'm seeing an actor portray something that doesn't make sense what you're telling me. You said this was the greatest detective we got. He didn't solve anything and failed. So if you're telling me the greatest detective work is a failure, then tell me what comic he sucked in, because then I don't want Batman anymore. I don't want Batman.
Just a side note, Larry Luck asked us. He let us know some kids are watching. So let's.
Oh, sorry, Larry. Yeah. I thought this. My bad, Larry.
Yeah. My bad. We curse a lot. We get a little out of hand, but it's all right. Go ahead, Zuplex. Sorry,
I thought this was a late night rant. I was coming from all sides. Larry, love the boys, love you guys. I'm gonna dial it down. I'm gonna let our Batman connoisseur, that he calls himself, do what he does.
Go ahead, Zuplex.
So, your point about Bruce Wayne, I get the confusion. Everybody wants Bruce Wayne to be Tony Stark, but he's not Tony Stark.
Not true.
He never has been. Right. Year 2 Batman, which this movie is solely based on all of the early years of Batman. For you to say, like, the comics don't matter. Of course they do, because that's where Matt Reeves got the ideas from this movie. You know what I'm saying? So Matt Reeves' original writing teacher was Jeff Loeb, who wrote Hush, wrote Year One. You know what I mean? Not Year One, but for you to say that those comics don't matter, insane. Matter, because this version of Batman, I understand it's not the same version of Batman that we've always gotten. That's what I liked about it. I like the Batman that can lose. I like the Batman whose Bruce Wayne isn't Bruce Wayne yet.
Yes and no, but I mean,
going to be that Bruce Wayne down the road.
Yes and no, but spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm about to spoil a major spoiler for the movie. I get that. I want the Batman that can get beat.
This whole video is spoilers.
I know, but just anyone watching, just in case. But he lost. He didn't do any. I get him losing throughout the movie, but at the end of the movie, he still failed.
I love that he lost. I loved it that he lost.
Not the way he lost.
Like Batman's never lost before.
Name a movie where he's lost. Give me one movie.
You act like Batman's never lost before.
I get in the comic books he's lost. I get that. Right? Comic books are their own thing. But name a movie where he lost. This isn't Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. There's never been a movie where he lost.
Why can't we have one?
It's hard.
That's a great question.
It's hard for me to get on the same page. When you say something like there's an original storyline you can get down with, I'm like, yeah, true, dude. I could actually, that's very true because we never saw that. That makes sense. When you say something like we got the Batman detective we were looking for, but he did nothing detective worthy, then I have to question it, right? Because then I say, I don't get that, because if at the end of the day, if he was a great detective, Alfred wouldn't have started the puzzle for him. Alfred wouldn't have started the second puzzle for him. And then in the third one, if you remember the mousetrap, right? The mousetrap was solved by the Penguin, essentially.
Yeah.
And he was like, what are you guys,
translated
morons?
Spanish wrong.
Right? And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, URL. I don't even know how that even came about, because I really caught a lot of the little nuances. Chris and I went, and I was really in tune, because the movie goes a little slower, right? So you're able to really hang in there and analyze. By the way, I loved it was 3 hours.
I hated it was 3 hours. Oh my God.
I would have liked less. I'll get into why I would have liked a little less, even a little less to the action that happened at the end and more storyline telling. I'm good with a whole intro movie, because if you're going to have more of them, God willing, right? We have a series. Cool. I'm all in on it. I'm all in on it because of the storyline and because of the villain aspect. I'm not in on a Robert Pattinson. And not that I'm not in on him because I told you guys, he is probably the closest thing we're going to get to the next Brokeback Mountain. But I'm saying, for me, I'm not in on him because there's nothing he did that convinced me. He was whispering the whole time. There was nothing to me that screamed, you know what, at some point, I can actually believe this guy will eventually be Bruce Wayne, maybe down the road. There's nothing that eventually can tell me he can really be that real tough guy, Batman, meaning he has like a dark, tough side to him. Nothing sold me now.
Right.
On the other end of the spectrum. Riddler, I was not sold on the first half of the movie and totally killed it in the second half. Like totally killed it. The phone conversation he had, what turned me was when the DA drove the car in and he was giving the riddles, right?
Right.
And if you're talking about that being great detective work, then yes, Batman killed it there. He gave him the answers. I tip my hat here to him there. But if there he drives the car in and the Riddler really was like, when he gave an answer and the DA was all rattled and then he started screaming at him and was like, yeah, I was like, yo, this guy is really starting to get there. And you saw him start to turn into that psychopathic Heath Ledger, right? So we saw that sort of like happen. Penguin, the reason why I loved his character was because the whole time we were sold. Now this goes hand in hand with the storyline. We were sold that he was the rat and he played it off so well, right? Chris and I the whole time were telling each other, who's the rat? No, that
Right.
person's the rat.
Right.
That person's the rat.
Yeah, we kept
Once
guessing,
again-
and we got it wrong every
once
time.
it-
So, like,
Yes.
they did a good job with that.
Once again, you tip your cap to Reeves, right? You tip your cap to the people in the roles. You go to Catwoman. I thought there was parts she did great. I thought there was parts I was left wanting maybe a little more. I didn't feel there was. Now she's a beautiful woman, but I didn't feel there was much of a sex appeal that I got. I got more of like an underprivileged fighting for, somebody who was, whatever. I got a little bit, and I wanted more of something else. Maybe that's on me. So I'm not going to judge the character wholesale. I like to see more, right? And I just felt Falcone, big role, killed it, right?
There was nothing to his role, though.
No, that's
anybody
not,
could have played
me,
a gangster.
me,
There was
There
nothing
was,
to his
there
role.
was.
He
There was.
played it well, though, man.
There was. For me,
Anyone
there
could have
was.
played
It was a guy who has a long history of being like that, I guess, super villain to everybody, meaning like that top mob boss. And he was so cool and collective that you didn't even know he was that important. You were like,
He was a smooth talker, man. He would just.
I didn't
like,
think
you
so. I don't know.
knew.
I didn't feel that way
But-
with him.
but for
I
me,
didn't feel that way at
Yeah,
all.
100%, man.
I was very, very happy with the villains in the movie. When I walked away from that, I said, man, we're going to get Riddler. They're going to introduce a new Joker, which I'm not a fan of, because at some point you have to bring somebody in that's done
Right.
one before, because there's too many floating in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
We don't
It's
need another
not-
Joker. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah,
we
you
don't
don't
need another
need-
Joker. Let Heath Ledger, but let him breathe. Let him breathe a little bit. We do not need
Came
Joker.
out and said he's not putting the Joker in the next movie.
Yeah, but Matt
Gonna show me
Reeves
the
is not the
Joker.
one paying for the movie. I'm telling you
mean,
right
listen,
now, it's just
Tom,
not. They're gonna put Joker
wait,
in. I'm calling it right now.
I hope
don't
you're
want
right.
that.
I hope you're right. I hope it's.
I don't see the Joker either. To be honest.
They already had the casting for him.
That's what I
Right.
thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. So for me,
So
go
The guy
ahead.
from Eternals, I think.
I was just
Yeah,
I was just
Barry
gonna finish.
Keoghan.
I was just gonna finish with, when I left there, I'm beating up on Batman, because this is the first true Batman movie we've had in a while, right?
Right.
So it left us yearning for a superhero that all of us, for all intents and purposes, love, right? As kids, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, these were the ones we grew up with. So when we get a Batman like Christopher Nolan delivered in his storyline, what I mean by that is a guy that I looked at, he convinced me. And I use my James Bond roles the same way, to be honest with you. Is James Bond pretty enough to get any chick? Does he look slick enough to be rich? And does he look badass enough ripped to beat guys up? And I look, and like Christian Bale, he looked to me, had the look, he had the feel. When he had his shirt off, he had that,
Right.
that like he was caught up. He played smart. He was like, there was things that I liked, and people keep harping on his voice and whatever he did. But to be honest with you, since what, Keaton, we were left waiting for a Batman. Instead, I get Ben Affleck. I mean, guys, come on.
Ben Affleck was
We
great.
got to do better. So now I get Robert Pattinson, and I'm like,
Bale.
Robert. I'm like, Robert Pattinson. This is what I get. And we didn't get a comic book iteration with Christian Bale, but Christopher Nolan's Batmans were the best Batmans, proven in any circle you go into. People were in love with those Batman movies.
I
love
agree.
with the Dark Knight. Love with the Dark Knight.
yeah.
Everybody
No, they
don't
love
even
all those
remembers
movies.
Batman Begins.
That's not
Don't even
true.
remembers
That's
Batman
not
Begins.
true.
And the only
That's
part
not
of
true.
Dark Knight
That's
Rises
not
that
true.
anybody likes. Part of the
It's
Dark
Bane.
Knight Rises that anybody likes is Tom Hardy's Bane.
It's
So
true.
let's-
It's true.
It's not true.
So let's,
It's 100% not
let's
true.
get
But
this
wait,
straight.
hold on.
Everybody likes to look at these movies. First off, Nolan doesn't know how to write a Batman movie.
Hold on, wait 1 second.
Prove
1
it.
second. Let me catch up on the chat here because we got a lot of action going on right now. So Mr. Butterworth says, I felt like it was more of a Batman starting from the ground up, so watching him fail was okay. Which, okay, fine. I'll give you that. To that point, before I go through the chat, to that point, I don't hate the fact that he failed. I hate how he failed, right? So for me in particular, my opinion was the movie should have ended. Again, we're going into spoilers. If you don't know that by now, I apologize. The movie should have ended during or right after the little interrogation scene with Batman and the Riddler. Going on for another 20 minutes with Gotham being flooded, that whole thing was garbage. That slowed the movie down so much. The action wasn't that great. And to me, I wasn't annoyed that he failed. It's that he failed in a way where I don't understand how anyone in Gotham should accept him as a savior or a hero going forward. He failed. He flat out failed. There's no inkling of him. There's a scene where he helps people walk out of a flooded Madison Square Garden, because let's call it what it is. It was Madison Square Garden. And I thought to myself, why are you following this guy? You didn't see him fighting for you guys. You didn't see that he almost gave his life for you guys. None of that stuff was aired.
They
don't say anything.
Saw him. He was hanging off the friggin' screen.
Nobody
They
saw
were
that.
watching him fight up there.
Everybody
was in the bleachers watching him fight up there. Bro. What movie did you watch?
If they were watching him fight up there, then what were they thinking? Because they should have been worried about surviving while the entire place flooded up. They were under debris. It was garbage.
They went to high ground. They went to the top of the bleachers and they were watching him fight.
Yeah.
You
just
shooting
didn't.
the shot, Chris.
It didn't land for me at all. I thought it was super stupid. I did not like it.
I will say. So I wanted to start this off by telling you guys what I didn't like in the movie.
Hold on.
Let
me get this out real quick. I think what should have happened, right? They had this stupid little moment where the Riddler keeps saying Bruce Wayne's name. And they kind of left you thinking, like, is somebody watching? Did he figure out that Batman's Bruce Wayne? They don't flat out tell you that. I mean, you kind of get the gist of that he didn't really figure it out. But they don't make it super clear. If the movie ended right there, with him not knowing what the Riddler did, with us not knowing if he knew who Batman was, all that kind of stuff, it would have left me way more excited for a sequel and much more interested in where they go from here forward. Instead, they added 20 minutes of garbage, and then they gave us a Joker cameo, which, while I think the actor is one of the few actors that could do a good Joker, I do not want the Joker. And to that point, who was it? Someone in the chat said there's way too many. Buttersworth said there's way too many Batman villains. You can use any one of them. Leave the Joker alone. I fully agree.
Agreed.
There's a deep rogues gallery for Batman. They're already talking about the Court of Owls, so they should have spent the last 10 minutes setting that up instead of.
They need to. They already set it up midway through the movie.
They did. They set it up like briefly.
John's favorite storyline.
They could have given us
John's favorite storyline of the movie with the Arkhams and the Waynes. That is the Court of Owls storyline.
Yeah, I mean that's a little tease for it, but that's more of like a deep cut for people who know the comics. That's not really a flat out.
But that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I guess I don't need Marvel style teases, but they didn't need the last 20 minutes. The whole bombs going off, it literally screamed to me that some studio executive said, there's not enough action at the end. Let's put more action in there, and they tacked on this scene. We also get Sheepdog did say that the violence
going off signified that he lost, that Batman lost. He didn't solve everything.
Oh, see, here's a good example. Sheepdog just says, did the violence he showed after Catwoman almost died change anything? No. If anything, that should have showed the cops that maybe this guy shouldn't be trusted. He almost beat a guy to death.
Listen, there was some epic scenes in the movie at the end of the day. I think what I would have liked to...
Larry, I know it was Gotham Square Garden, but come on. It was Madison Square Garden.
I actually think... I do happen to believe, a little bit different than Chris, where I believe... I loved everything about the last scene. I wish they put that as the first scene in the next movie. I was good with the scene. I liked the scene. I thought it delivered nice. I
don't hate that idea. Yeah.
So for me, what I told him was... The one time I actually felt that Pattinson convinced me he was Batman was when he's slamming on the glass and he's talking to the Riddler and he said, "What did you do? What did you do?" And they should have left it.
Right. Ended right there.
Been like, what did he do?
Right there.
Like,
I would have been in.
Right? You leave there and you're like, yo, what did he really do? And now when you're waiting now, if they open the next movie with that scene, you're like, wow. Like this dude legit formed an army, right? And it would have been cool because they would have shown him in the jail. It would have reminded us, like, wow, they put him where he is. He puts out that movie. And then the action, I actually happened to like the action. I thought it was pretty... The reason why I thought it was realistic was because everybody... You see all these crazy people online these days. We're guns, they're rifles, blah, blah, blah. No one knows how to use them, right?
Right.
So you saw a lot of rookies show up to be part of something, covering their face, shooting at things they're not really hitting, which makes sense because that is a real life thing. So I thought that
they're not soldiers.
They're not soldiers. They think they are because they're fighting for a cause, but at the end of the day, Riddler brought a bunch of lunatics together, not soldiers, right? So it was
and
people.
Batman still lost.
But-
This is my
okay.
problem. I get it's year 2, but he should have had no problem stopping all those people. He still lost. He got his ass beat. He needed to inject himself with venom.
The bombs were already going off.
Not the bombs.
Before he even got
the
there.
whole fight scene at the end with to John's point, these people who don't know how to fire a gun, who really aren't organized in any kind of way. Batman is supposed to be a strategist, and I get that he was learning. It's only year 2, whatever, but his entire life is consumed with being Batman. So you're telling me that he just went up there and just winged it and got his ass kicked? No, he had gadgets out the ass on his outfit. He should have handled them a lot easier than he did.
I'm less inclined to believe that, and the reason why I say that is because when you're outnumbered, however many, right? You're gonna go up on a rafter, and I've been the toughest on the Batman in general, but I'm not as tough on the storyline unfolding. This is why I happen to like the movie. It even shows more so. He goes up there, he fights however many guys he fought, right? And he fought quite a few.
Right.
It's 20, 30, however many it was.
There's a
And
lot of them, yeah.
and he was doing what we traditionally know as Batman, not killing anybody, right? Like that's Batman's thing. So he wasn't killing anybody. That's his like rule. We're not killing people. So he's getting them stuck in the rafters. He's doing all these things. And then at the end, you saw he hits the adrenaline because his armor. He hits the adrenaline.
That was Venom.
He gets up,
that was the Venom. It looked
they're
to
saying
me
it's Venom.
like it was the Venom shit that Bane uses. Yeah.
Okay, so he hits it and he's going nuts. He's breaking this dude's face, whatever, and they stop him right short of killing the guy, whatever the case may be. And I just thought we looked at it, and it was very significant to me when he took the mask off, and it was the guy from the jailhouse.
Yeah.
It was significant to me that it was Batman not killing anybody, beating them into being scared. And by the way, this is how I thought Reeves delivered so well in the beginning of the movie when he's talking about
his monologue
all
in
the
beginning.
time. Yeah, and when they saw the light, they would look at the nearest dark alley, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
That was gonna be one of my points.
And we all, at least me, maybe not all, I was like, is he gonna walk out of that alley? You know, like you're legitimately waiting
it started
for
off
something
well.
to pop. You're waiting for something to pop out. So I thought that they did a lot. And I'll tell you something, and this is me nitpicking also. Maybe this is in one of the comics, bro. Can you tell me how the first fight scene he has with that gang with the face paint, right?
The Joker gang.
They hear his boots. Clank, 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 clank. And then all of a sudden they see him and you're like, okay, now it's getting real. They're fighting, whatever. Then a couple times in the movie as it goes by, the DA crashes in, you hear his boots. And then at other times in the movie, you don't hear his boots at all. Did he like deactivate loud stomping mode on his boots? Like, how'd that happen? Was that in the comics also, or is that just cool, Pattinson?
Hey, listen, I don't know about that, but
Oh, okay.
Wait, hold on. I got to comment on something here because John, you're trying to defend this fight scene at the end there, and I got to disagree with you here because you guys are all telling me he was surrounded, he was outmatched, whatever. What then? Yeah. How come he was able to handle all the goons, the Falcone goons, when he turned the lights off in that club? He handled them no problem. They had automatic rifles. They were all trained. They were shooting the crap out of him. And he barely flinched. He handled every single one of them. So you're telling me he can handle that crew?
First of all,
he was blocking. He was just getting lit up by bullets.
So why didn't he block against the other people? The people who don't know how to shoot. He couldn't block against them.
But he wasn't blocking.
He's
swinging in a raptor.
Fighting somebody in front of him and getting shot in the back, and he turns and he's getting shot this way, and he's getting shot.
He did the same thing in the Falcone thing.
He
did the same thing in the Falcone fight.
I think you missed the mark here, bro.
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's
Here's
tier 2 in the Ranger game, by the
thing,
way.
he also had time
now.
He also had time to plan for it. Like,
right.
Invading.
He was in control of that
situation for it. Oh my god!
With the Riddler thing, he didn't have time to plan for it. He had to act in the moment.
Exactly why it shouldn't have happened. It just wasn't planned out at all. It shouldn't have happened. But that should have been eliminated.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Fred.
Go ahead,
that scene is one of my
Buttersworth,
favorite
we'll get to
scenes
your question in a sec. Sorry, go ahead.
because he's rushing to MSG because the bombs are going off.
MSG, I
And
like
he
it.
knows,
Thank you. I'll thank you for that. I
Yeah.
like that.
he knows shit's about to go down. Excuse me. At the garden, and you just see the roof blow off, and Batman drops right into the arena, which I thought was amazing looking. And then he begins to fight all the Riddlers, and at some point he's hanging off the screen, puts the gadget to the extinguisher, cloud of smoke, and he just comes rushing through the smoke. It was one of the most badass Batman scenes I've seen.
By that point, I was falling asleep. I wasn't that into it.
Because you were just hating the whole thing.
I wasn't into it. It's not that I don't hate the movie. I don't hate the movie, but it just wasn't. It didn't land for me.
Incredible. And then like the him helping people in the water. The whole Gotham City was a character in itself. It was dark. It was gloomy. It was a piece of shit city. Like
he didn't help anybody.
They set you up.
He was helping people out of the water at the end.
He didn't help anybody.
Like,
he lit a flare. He recruited some cops to help him.
Listen,
he was carrying people out of the water.
He didn't.
You must have fell asleep,
he walked out of the water.
Did you not wake this guy up at the end?
What are you talking about? He walked out of the water. There's a scene where he's walking with the flare and everyone's behind him. That's all he did is turn a flashlight on. I could have done that.
Right.
He's picking people. He's got the kid in his hands.
Yeah,
Chris,
when they're on the roof afterwards.
Chris, you've gone way off the reservoir, bro.
Yeah,
I did not like the end. He didn't help anybody.
Right now.
He didn't help anybody at the end.
He helped. Whatever. You're gone. You lost this.
Bro,
he didn't help anybody at the end.
If you didn't see him pull the mayor-elect and
but
the child,
she could have got. All he did was lift one thing of rubble with someone's help.
Get out.
It's a little odd to me.
Anybody could have
done
that.
It's a little odd to me if you didn't see him move the beam that nobody else could, and then take the kid out.
Anybody could have done that. Anybody could have done that. He did nothing special.
He lit a flare. Nobody did because they couldn't do it. So
he lit a flare.
I don't know what you're saying.
That's all he did.
I don't know what you're saying right now.
I'll give you that. He tried to sacrifice himself with that electric wire. I guess he did that. He cut the wire. I mean, come on.
The people of Gotham.
Those sheepdog. I'll give you that. He sacrificed himself with that electric wire to cut the wire. I mean, he didn't get electrocuted. He didn't get hurt in any way. He fell into water. So I guess sacrifice is a strong word. But he did do that. He protected him from the wire that was going to fall into the water. I'll give you that. He
had a taser in his hand, and it wasn't doing anything to him. Like it came out of his freaking gloves, basically.
He cut the wire with his chest knife. That's the newest edition. The newest edition we got to the Batman mythos is he's got a chest knife. It wasn't that special.
At this point, Chris, we're gonna have to ask you to stop talking and take a seat because you're gonna have to reel it back in, bro.
Mute the mic, my guy.
It just makes no sense. Sorry, go ahead, Scythe. At some
point, you're just trying to talk us down. At some point, you're gonna start talking about Superman, bro. We gotta call.
I fucking hate Superman. I'll never talk about Superman.
We're out here on you, bro.
Superman has never impressed me.
By the way, we're not. This may be Batman comic 64. We don't know what you're talking about at this point, bro. We're out on you. Okay, let's stick with the movie. Thanks, my guy.
Nobody knows what they're talking about. Go ahead, Seth. Go.
From the start of the movie, like John was saying, criminals that knew Batman, that knew he existed, were terrified of him. They were looking at every dark corner. The civilians were scared of him that knew of him. They just thought he was just this vigilante beating the crap out of everybody. Nobody knew if he was actually there helping. And at the end of the movie, when people saw what he was doing to try to protect them and actually help them get out of this disaster zone, that's when he truly became the quote unquote beacon of light for Gotham City. That was when the people started realizing that this man is here to help us. He's not a threat to the civilians.
I just don't. I didn't care.
Yeah, the movie starts. Listen, hold up. I'm going to agree with Fred here. The movie starts with Batman being. The movie starts with Batman being vigilante. Everybody's terrified of civilians and criminals alike. Needed to find a way. Now, I'll agree with you that the third act is weaker than I would have liked it to be.
Ridiculous.
I would agree with that.
Sorry.
I wouldn't
say it's ridiculous. There had to be some sort of third act, though. You can't end it in. As much as I like your guys' version of ending it at the interrogation scene,
See,
I think would have been pretty badass. But you to come full circle on the story in this movie, he needs to end as the hero.
Why though?
Why though? So you said yourself, why can't we get a new story? This is my problem with this movie. It's basically rehashing stuff we've already seen. Why not give us a new Batman? All of it. We saw him be a detective. We saw him brood and be whiny.
Where was he?
Ben Affleck's Batman was a different Batman. I know it was a different age. He was much older and all that stuff. That Batman I was ready to ride with. I wanted to see him go toe-to-toe with other heroes, the whole nine. Here, I can't see him. He's clearly not going to be involved with any other superheroes. So we're not getting a new Justice League and that kind of stuff. And he didn't do anything different. It was the Dark Knight 2.5, basically. They tried to just mimic what worked before. The Riddler tried to be his version of Heath Ledger's Joker. He didn't land that well. Alfred tried to be, I guess, more like the Gotham version of Alfred, the one from the TV show. You know, he was all right. We got to get to some comments here because Buttersworth is out. He wants to know what we thought of Alfred. Go ahead, Zuplex. You'll be the final thought on this, and then let's talk about some of the characters because we're getting requests.
Your guy's big
and Buttersworth says to enjoy the pie one shot.
Not the Batman.
Over cake, it's delicious.
His biggest complaint is that he's not the Batman or the Bruce Wayne that we all know and love from whatever other version of it that we've seen, right?
Well, that's not my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint was the movie was 3 hours. It should have been 2.
Well, John's biggest complaint. Get to that version. Needed him to be the hero at the end of this one.
You know what my biggest complaint is, if I'm being honest? My biggest complaint of the whole movie is that I'm tired of Batman.
It wasn't the Dark Knight.
We've had 900 different versions of Batman. We've had 7 different actors play Batman. They should have brought Robin in or Tim Drake. You know, they should have introduced a character that we knew was going to become another character, another hero like Batman. So at least I can be excited for what's coming in the future.
They can't. Not with the year 2 Batman.
They can't. You have to
know with Affleck.
Why can't you show it? You could have shown that.
DC itself has been reeling for years, and they are trying super hard. And any DC loyalists are starving. Okay, they're grasping at straws for anything. Yeah, they fused together the Justice League without really any merit whatsoever. And even when they hit on a character and an actor to fill that role, they don't hit on a movie director. Right. And when they get a movie director, they don't hit on the actor. And then when they get a Wonder Woman that was great, they fail miserably at the second one.
Right, they ruin the sequel.
There's a lot. So you have to understand the only characters we've had successful movies for have been Batman and Superman. And those are the guys that carry, whether or not we like it, the lantern for the DC comics. Now, are there other amazing characters for DC? Absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully soon those will shine through. But the fact is we don't get, everyone's starving. So if you're going to make another movie, what are you going to make it another one of? You're going to make it of the 2 biggest ones that people are still most familiar with that they haven't messed up. And I'm hoping they don't mess up Aquaman with this new blue suit they got him doing.
Yeah, they're messing
they're fucking it up. The Flash in the new one looks like a twerp. It to me, it's Tron just
the worst Flash ever.
They never hit home on things that were like, wow, they could do a great job. So they're going to continue to do the Batman. And bro, all I'm saying
is but my argument to that though is that the best, and Zuplex, back me up on this if I'm right. If I'm wrong, then I'll shut up. But the best Batman stories in the comics always include someone else that he works with. Robin, Nightwing, Batgirl, like the best Batman stories.
But this one didn't have to. This one didn't have to bring somebody else that Batman worked with.
No, this movie did. So why not set it up for a sequel? Get me excited for what's to come. This is the origin story for Robert Pattinson, and they didn't get me excited for anything. Joker doesn't get me excited at the end. I don't give a shit about.
I agree with you that the better Batman stories have a Robin or a Nightwing or the Bat family in general involved. This version of Batman, you couldn't bring a Robin into this. Him being a year.
You could have introduced him. He doesn't have to be Robin. Make him Tim Drake. Just give us a Tim Drake character.
They had done that with Affleck and brought in like Carrie Kelly.
No,
the
but
Robin.
But you could give us a Dick
100%
Grayson,
on
like
board.
just introduce the character. You don't have to make him Robin, but at least give us
Grayson
someone
was
that he's
named as
introduced.
This guy.
Well, I guess you don't want to make him a teenager. You can't make him a
listen,
teenager.
I don't know.
Listen, Chris, I
Too young.
think about 30 minutes ago you inserted your foot in your mouth and you haven't been able to take it out yet. And I understand now, and I say you're grasping at straws, and we're on the same page until you kept harping about things that aren't even in the realm of the conversation. So listen, at some point in time, as friends, I have to tell you to shut up, dude. You're out.
None of it makes sense. You guys, the only thing you said, the best thing you said, John, is that DC fanboys are grasping at straws for anything DC to be decent, because that's basically what this movie was. It was decent. That's it. It was just decent. Nothing special about it.
Bro,
It's not the Dark Knight. It's barely Batman Begins. It's decent.
You literally told us that the Riddler's performance didn't impress you. Wow.
What did he do? What did he do that impressed me? What did he do that's impressive?
I do like how John has
everything. He was 3 hours of the movie. What are you talking
He
about?
was barely in the movie. He wasn't 3 hours. He was on 2 cell phone videos,
movie
and then
was
in
the
the end, he has
vibe.
an interrogation scene where he actually could act.
Wait, I have to call people out, bro, because here's the thing. Chris and I were on the same page. I felt like we were on the same path. And then he started going on and on about he harped on a fight scene, which I actually agreed with him about. And then he dove so far into it that it didn't make sense, right? Like,
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You convinced us and then unconvinced us, you know? So it's.
Are you listening to this conversation?
What?
Are you listening to the conversation? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Are you
right
listening to the conversation? When you
I
go back,
I harped on one fight scene that I didn't think was that great.
Dude,
the Raptors.
I like
fight
how
scene.
me and John have agreed with more on this movie than you and John have.
I know, right? And John was
I
attacking you
honestly-
so much in the chat.
I wasn't expecting this at all, to be honest. And this
no,
is
I just don't know where he went. I don't know where he went with this. He lost me. It's
None of it was that
Yeah.
impressive. Listen, I have one message for anyone watching who has not seen The Dark Knight. If you haven't seen it, I have one message for you. There's nothing that impressive about it. It's okay. Everything is just okay. It's all mediocre. Don't believe the hype. The Batman. This movie we're just watching. This movie we're watching that we're talking about right now. The one with the logo above my head. Right, well, you guys can't see it.
I'm definitely going to disagree. I'm definitely going to disagree. Before we get to the next questions, I just think they didn't have to make him the hero at the end, because they could have left us waiting to see how he turned into the hero.
Buttersworth Cole said I went off the rails. That's how I feel about the movie, though. I wanted it to be
like
good.
I said.
That's all.
Like I said, I agree with you. Like, they didn't have to show it, but it doesn't take away from the scene itself. It was still a great scene. But I agree.
The scene was fine.
It could have been done in the next movie.
100% it could have been done in the next
All
movie.
right, ask questions. Get us the
No,
questions.
I'm still going. I'm still going.
Well, the first question,
okay.
Buttersworth wants to know what we thought of Alfred. And just like everything else, my response is, he's all right.
Scythe,
I mean,
go ahead and lead it off. Go ahead.
he can be great, but what's so special about him? Go ahead, Scythe. What'd you think of Alfred?
I mean, he was Alfred. He was all right. He was.
You see what I'm saying? He was Alfred.
He was the more like militant Alfred. He wasn't the old man butler.
Right,
He was the guy that was clearly special forces or something in his past life.
And we got that basically in the Gotham show. If anyone watched that on I don't know, My Nine, whatever channel it was, CW. It was basically the same version.
You know where we didn't get that? We didn't get that in The Dark Knight.
No, but we actually got a real relationship built between Alfred and Bruce Wayne. Not like in this one.
I mean, they establish it when he gets hurt and he's in the hospital. They establish how close they are. But
Which, by the way, was a very poor acting scene.
Yeah,
Oh,
come
God.
on, they established it. Robert Pattinson did
But
not
the
nail
point
the
of-
role there.
the point
Alfred
of the
did.
movie-
I'll give what's the name? He did.
The point of
Andy
the
Serkis did.
movie was Batman has like no real relations. He's just a lone tortured soul just doing what he's doing. Like, he's just out there. And
which could have
to go back
easily
on
led into the
detective thing,
introduction
like,
of another character that maybe he could have recruited in a future movie. I'm not saying have Robin full suit up. I don't want Chris O'Donnell coming back with the
Can we
Robin
get
outfit.
off of Robin, like,
No.
forget Robin, dude. Like,
Give me something
what are we
else.
talking? What
We
are we
didn't
talking
see anything
about
new
right
here.
now?
We
Like,
saw nothing new here except for a darker
I
Riddler.
gotta watch
You're-
Batman. Alfred, fuck it. Let's
Why-
bring in
why
Robin.
don't
Give me
why don't
something
we have a
else.
Superman movie where he has no powers? Great idea. Like, what are we
Circus
talking
is going to be wearing a
about?
Nightwing costume next to the movie. All right, you feel better now?
Out of your mind.
We've gotten a Superman
Like-
movie where he has no powers. The Superman's terrible.
So, Chris, when did we get like a true detective Batman?
Dark Knight.
When? How many scenes was it? Like a whole thing?
Oh
like
my!
I mean,
How many
I
scenes?
can
So
tell
okay,
you
I'm
that-
supposed to
I
like
can
this
tell
movie
you-
because they
No,
made it
listen,
2 hours
listen.
of him inspecting shit.
when do we actually get to see him walk into a crime scene, analyze evidence, go on his own to gather his own evidence? He's got
The Dark Knight.
tech in his eyes. He's
The Dark Knight.
sneaking into
Don't see
crime
that in the
scene.
Dark Knight, Chris.
You
He
don't
went
see
into
that.
the
What are
crime
you
scene,
talking about?
cut a brick out, scanned it, got a fingerprint, then went to the place of the
The only
fingerprint.
time he does anything
Okay.
even remote to do as a detective in the entire trilogy.
Okay, at the end of the
Entire
movie,
trilogy.
at the end of the movie, did
No
he
one
not have
was like,
technology in his
Oh,
eyes?
the fanboys are mad that that he's not detecting shit. Let me make him detect shit.
At
Like,
the end,
come on, bro.
at the end of the movie of the Dark Knight, did he not walk
Nah.
around with that 3D scanner? You just asked if he had technology in his eyes. That's the Dark Knight, and that's also arguably
Okay.
Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
The one scene. Okay, cool.
By the way, I
we
have to
actually
admit-
got to see him.
I'm telling you, yes, it's definitely there's very minimal scenes of him being the detective and stuff like that, right? I'm agreeing. But I have to admit that the one scene where he did it was more than he did in all of the crime scenes in
this
the new
one.
Batman movie. That's all I'm saying. So you're right. It was fewer.
He walked around
But-
a lot in this one.
He definitely went out of his way. And like you said, he cut out that brick. He went through. They got all the fragments, put the fingerprint together. And in this one, every crime scene he went into, he was kind of analyzing, and he was, and then you would get like a Robert Pattinson be like, "Wasn't alone," and then you're like, "Oh, all right, cool." And then
That's accurate.
you're-
It's accurate.
yeah, and and then he would look at Commissioner Gordon, and he'd say something else, whisper like, "I'm emo," and he would go in his cave, and and then Alfred would solve the puzzle. So like, listen, I don't know, he did more detective work, no doubt, but it wasn't
Yeah, I'm
successful.
not saying he was the world's greatest detective because he's not there yet, but he was actually a detective for once. Like,
If that's the point we're making,
full blown detective.
if that's the point we're making, if the point was that we just wanted to see him do more, criminal detective investigation work versus walking in and beating people up, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah,
Real
I mean,
quick.
you don't get hired as a cop right into being a detective. You need like time.
That
in the
doesn't
job.
matter.
You gotta
the
grow
Batman
with
thing.
it.
Again, his entire life is consumed with this.
If I walked into a police department right now, I'd be a detective at this moment in time. in
Real quick,
2020.
Mr. Buttersworth, which is one of my other complaints about the movie, just mentioned that Batman was walking like he was taking the ring to Mount Doom. It's just so true. The movie was slow. It was very slow. My favorite scene in the whole
It
movie.
wasn't slow. It
I
wasn't
thought
that
it
slow.
was super slow. My favorite scene in the whole
Yeah,
movie
clearly.
was the very first detecting scene where he walked into the first murder of the mayor. Just because I like how the one thing they showed to me that was new, that wasn't even new, it was just different, I guess, was how all the cops were watching him while he did his thing. The only thing they really did differently in this entire movie, if I'm being perfectly honest, that we've never seen before, is him and Gordon actually work together. We've seen them be friends before. We've seen them, Gordon's allowed him to do stuff.
They were a true
That was
partnership.
the entire
Right.
plot to the Dark Knight. So I mean, he's worked with Gordon before.
That
we-
was
we
another.
never
That
watched
was
that either.
another.
No,
movie.
but this is hypocrisy. To your point, in the Dark Knight, we never once saw him and Gordon go investigating together. We saw them talk and be friends, but we never
That's
saw
the
them actually
false-
go and find anything.
That's
So
the,
they worked
that's
together
the
when they
false-
hatched the entire plan where Gordon pretends to die, and then the Joker
Where
hunts
did we?
him.
So you're excited. You're downplaying the one scene of him actually doing detective work in the Dark Knight, but we're okay with we're upplaying the fact that he never went into a building and was searching for
The
clues and
difference
stuff.
is that I admitted that he did some very minor detective work in the Dark Knight. You're saying that we've never seen them together before, which is false.
We've never seen them work together. We've never seen it.
that-
We heard it.
That
The
is
whole,
that
the whole
is.
trilogy
seen
was
it.
them working together. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
I don't know. I don't know,
What
bro.
are you
I
talking
gotta,
about?
Not like in
Chris?
this.
What are you- what's
Not like in this
happening
movie
here?
where they're walking through that building, they're actually getting clues, they interrogated the Penguin together. Like
Because
you didn't see
they
that.
were actually being detectives.
And I'm
in this
saying,
movie, which is the whole.
but
friggin'
Fred,
point.
I'm agreeing with you. This is the first time we've seen that. I'm agreeing with you. This is the first time we've seen that.
All
But
right,
then-
it
but
took,
then you
it
went-
took 2 hours
But
for us to
then
get
you went
here.
out
We
of your
agree.
way. But then you went out of your way to see you didn't see The Dark Knight and you saw it multiple times. So it's odd to
What do you
use
mean?
that as.
What are you talking about? I don't even know what
Said
you're
that.
Are
referencing
you
right now.
serious, bro? This is what I'm. Or
There's
you
not
just
multiple
said
times.
that,
There's not multiple times where they work together. We saw them have conversations. That's not working together. I'm sorry.
bro. A
That's
bank
not
got
working together.
robbed. A bank got robbed. Gordon was
It was
in
like
there.
8 hours of them working together. It was a
No,
whole
Batman-
it
trilogy.
wasn't.
Yeah,
A bank
Batman gave him the radioactive money to plant at the bank robbery
Yeah.
scene.
And then he walked
Okay,
in
so
together.
to again, you guys didn't have to see it there. You're okay with
Oh,
just hearing
God,
it.
dude.
You're okay with just
Oh,
hearing
God.
it. But here,
Oh.
but when it comes to him investigating, it's not okay to just hear it. You have to see it. You guys are all over.
Look,
The place.
this is Chris staying above water.
You guys are all over the place. You're not
Setting
consistent.
stings for the Joker and
How are
investigating
we
shit are two
all
different
over the
things.
place?
You're not consistent. You're just not consistent. I'm telling you. You're not
And we're
consistent.
being very consistent
You
with our
haven't been
arguments.
consistent since we gone live. I don't know what's happening to you today.
I've been saying the
Like-
same thing. You guys aren't
Chris.
consistent. You guys just aren't consistent.
Oh
I'm saying the
my
same thing.
Chris, listen. To be honest with you, it is,
Same Chris
It's-
helps.
Yes.
dude. it's
I'm all
Chris,
alone.
Chris,
I wasn't.
this-
I wasn't impressed with the movie.
Chris, no, that's fair, but that's fair, right? It's okay. It's okay.
That's fair.
Dude,
I'm all alone.
It's okay.
I'm
It's
all
okay
on.
to say no doubt about it, but you can't use other references that don't make sense. That's all I'm saying.
But you guys aren't making sense. Ugh.
Chris, we just all said the
You're
same
the
thing.
only
You're
one
just,
not
you're just
making sense.
arguing.
No, you guys are not making sense. You guys are okay. You guys don't count the one scene of investigation from The Dark Knight as investigation. You guys all said that, except for Suplex. You guys said that. You don't
We
count it.
counted it as investigation.
Right, but,
It's
Yeah.
the one scene of
but
investigation.
so what does it matter if
What
it's
we're
one
saying
scene
is
or
we
10?
wanted
It
more
happened.
investigation.
But this is my point.
You're saying
It,
that-
it happened.
So first time
We've
we
never-
see him and
we've
Gordon
never
working
You know what
seen-
together.
this boils down
We've
to?
heard him and
Told you,
Gordon.
him and
You know
Gordon
what this
working
boils,
together.
No.
guys, it's all good. Let's call it what it is.
Now it's just water,
Let's-
Walsh. I drank tequila
Chris,
earlier.
it's
I finished my
okay.
tequila
Let's
before we
call it
streamed.
what it is, guys. He just wanted Robin. Okay, guys.
Yeah,
I want, but what I want is Nightwing.
He
What I want
wanted
is
a
Nightwing.
Robin movie.
wanted.
I've been
wanted
very,
a
I've been
Robin
very
movie.
honest with that from the beginning. What I want is Nightwing. We're not getting Nightwing. Apparently, it's
Next-
never going to happen.
You know,
Let's move on to the next question.
But we
next
still
question.
haven't. Oh, so we
I
talked
don't
about
even
Alfred.
know.
All right, we talked about Alfred. Hold on. Let's
I
let's
thought
pick
Alfred
someone
did
else.
great.
He did all right, but it was
Alfred
you
was
know.
good.
I thought he was all
nothing
right.
special.
I mean,
Like it was
I
just
wasn't
basically.
super impressed. I don't think they gave him a lot.
Yeah,
No,
he
they
didn't have a
gave
lot to
Alfred
do. He didn't have a lot to do. That's for sure.
I think he was just kind of like I understand playing the tortured Batman. It's still angry and vengeful and everything like that. So he's not gonna be-
Buttersworth, go get a drink, man. Come on
Yeah,
now.
I mean, like, listen, early Batman was emo Batman. Like, that's just who he
listen.
is. You know,
Well, now hold on.
I
Let's go through the
agree.
characters because we gotta get through all these characters
I
here.
hated emo. What?
We gotta get through all these characters here. We're getting questions about everything.
All right, go ahead. Next question.
Hold on. So we talked about Alfred, I guess, already. Who didn't we talk about? We talked about Riddler, I guess. Would you say we talked about Riddler already?
I mean, listen, we're all in agreement here, except for you, Chris, that the Riddler was pretty awesome.
No, he was the
Riddler-
best. He was the best
Riddler-
Riddler we've ever gotten on screen. I mean,
He was
that's
close. He was
was it anything special?
closest villain to Heath Ledger we've gotten in Batman.
Yeah, but that's a big gap. That's a huge gap.
Yeah, and he closed it. He's right there with him.
No,
Like,
he's
what
not
do we-
right there with them. Come
Yes, he
on.
was.
Maybe
He
in the
was
next
phenomenal.
movie.
What I was
Maybe in the
most
next
impressed
movie he
with-
could be right there with him, but I don't think he's right there with him yet.
I
That
was most
dude,
impressed
that
with
dude acted his
with the
ass off in this
version of
movie.
the
I don't know
Riddler.
what you're saying.
The end of this movie, when they do the interrogation scene, and he realizes that Batman is not on his side, and he's having that psychotic break.
Bro, that was insane.
Oh shit!
No,
Torts.
no, and he's like freaking out. And you're like,
Yeah,
It was
it's the
amazing.
only scene that he actually got to
Was-
really act.
Absolutely amazing.
It's the
That's
only
all we
scene.
needed,
It
though.
it was the
Oh
one
my
time.
god!
he
Again,
was
one
not
scene
in
is okay
control.
in this case. I can't.
It was
I
the
can't.
one time he was in
can't.
control the whole movie. It was the one time where he clearly was not in control, and he couldn't believe that.
Pat Walsh says Jim Carrey was the
his
best
lower
Riddler, and I tend to
jaw.
agree. No, I don't agree with that, Pat. I'm sorry, I can't. Even though after a full glass of tequila, I can't agree with that. Jim Carrey wasn't as good as this Riddler. This Riddler was much better. Sorry, go ahead.
Even the way Paul Dano contorted his lower jaw to that rictus, like, sad face, and you could see how upset he was that Batman wasn't on his side.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
amazing.
phenomenal acting on his part. I mean,
Right.
like, listen,
Yeah, it was great acting for that scene. That one
you
scene.
got to call it what it is.
Excellent
you
acting
know?
for that one scene. Phenomenal.
Dude, you're just hating the hate at this point.
No, it was great. I'm not arguing. It was great acting for that
Dude,
one scene, for
the
that
dude
one
was
specific
good.
scene.
The whole
It was great acting for that one
he
specific
gave
scene.
us different ways to kill people. He was basically the Zodiac killer. Like the dude was out of his mind the whole movie.
I
This was
wish.
like
I
Batman
wish two
Seven.
things.
Zodiac killer.
I wish two things. I wish that some of the riddles would have been. There would have been more riddles. I think like the last one was a card saying like, no, you're hard to reach, answer the phone, and it didn't really have anything to do with Batman. I thought that the second one was like, you know, I wish there would have been more in depth riddles. You know, that would have been really cool. And I told you guys, the first half of the movie, I wasn't sold on him. Second half of the movie was amazing. He killed it. So
Definitely a slow burn. It was definitely a slow burn for him.
Yeah, it was an odd like the entrance where like he brutally beats
The mayor.
you know, so like you're you know, he says, you know, I realized I found my way. I realized that I didn't have what it takes to use my hands.
You
But
lacked
I
the physical.
Yes, right? So at that point you're like, oh, because he seemed so overpowering that first scene with the mayor, but then he says like he's not a strong character. So that was a little bit confusing. But like I said, the way that the storyline had him do it, let's just say there's no movie director and it's him really putting the pieces into place. It was really masterful, right? He plants the bombs around the city. He's talking. It's a new age. He's talking via Twitter and whatever, you know, like groups, like small groups via online, and he's getting people to rally to his cause, which is something we know happens in the real world. And he's somebody who's lost, and then he's starting to like really lose himself, like reality, which I thought he sold really well. And it wasn't even that last scene. I told you, the scene that got me was the phone conversation with the DA, and every question he asked the DA was getting the DA to like admit his guilt, right? The first one was like, what are you supposed to do? Blah, blah, blah. And it was justice, right? And then he starts screaming at him, you were supposed to deliver justice. You were supposed to be this guy. And the DA starts talking and he screams over him. You're like, damn, right? So that scene to me is what turned me into like a real believer he could be the next great villain. Now, here's the thing. I think that, Fred, I think you're trying too hard to replace Heath Ledger with the 1A, 1B.
I'm not trying to replace him at all. I still think Ledger is the bar. Like, he's the top.
I don't think there has to be a 1A and 1B. I just think there's a different direction, and the Riddler gives us excitement for a new direction. I don't think there even has to be, because there's not going to be a 1B. Because if we have to do that, then we would put Bane in the conversation when it came to acting. Maybe not the true Bane comic, okay? But we're talking about, you know, because Bane is a mastermind, right? Bane is...
Yeah, he's a strategist.
Yes. So
Nolan made him the lackey again.
But
that was the
here's
biggest
the thing.
mistake Nolan made, for sure.
He was acted well.
But the thing was like his character was so scary, right? You're like
intimidating. Yeah.
Holy crap! You felt he could control an army. He beat the hell out of Batman. He blew up a stadium. He like there was things that he made you believe. You were like, wow, this is another great villain. Now it may not have fit the comic villain, but it was a great villain. So like I said, when it came to acting, go ahead.
My opinion on Bane has always been that up until you find out Talia was behind everything.
Yeah,
it's an amazing.
Right.
Once you find out that Talia was the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah, it was weak.
Everything.
Yeah, it completely ruins the ending.
Everything about that character, which proves yet again that Christopher Nolan doesn't know how to write Batman stories.
It was.
He'll tell you that too, though. He'll tell you that too. He doesn't know how to write Batman.
Somebody trying too hard to have a plot twist, right? Like it was somebody trying so hard. We have to have confusion. It can't be Bane.
Right.
Well, why can't it be Bane? It should be Bane.
It should have been.
Right?
Real quick, John. Larry Luck agrees. He says 1,000% needed more riddles and needed time to let us try and figure it out ourselves, rather than them read the riddle and just kind of give us the answer immediately.
That was the best part about Penguin, because through the movie, we were like, he's the rat. No, he's not the rat. No, he's a mob boss. No, he's not on the payroll. So like during the movie, we got the ups and downs. And with Riddler, it was pretty straight through. And like I said, I ended up falling in love with the villain. And I'm very happy to see him moving forward. Hopefully we continue to get him and its consistency. Can't wait.
Got a show from the HBO.
I'm actually excited for that show because the Penguin was so good in this movie. I loved the Penguin in this movie.
Penguin was Colin Farrell was phenomenal in this movie. There was
excellent.
The one scene where he was in the car chase and he looks back. That's the only time you know it's Colin Farrell because
you would never have noticed otherwise.
You would never have known because his voice. His look, everything was just completely different. He was phenomenal. I
tried so hard. That's such a great point. I tried so hard to like see him. You know, I was like, I'm like, man, this can't be him. Like it didn't feel like it at all in that one scene. You're right, and it was. I gotta ask you a question. Is there another question that somebody asked on the thing? Because I do have a question for everybody.
Yes, Pat Walsh asked me if I'm drinking more tequila because I'm losing it. Does that count?
Okay. No. So real. I gotta ask you guys.
Pat, I finished my tequila earlier today, so now I'm just drinking water.
The car scene, I thought the car scene was great. I thought the action was great. I thought the fact
it was a great chase.
The thing I didn't like was two things. I didn't like that when he hit Penguin, he did this like instead of like a cool line, like an intimidating, like he ripped it out of the car. Yeah. He just like bent over and kind of stared at him, and I'm like,
I think that was. I don't know if that was meant to be funny, but I found that to be a funny scene. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know what it was, but like that to me was awkward. But the thing that I didn't like, I gotta say, the souped up Challenger with an engine in the back. It didn't do it. It felt like they robbed Vin Diesel's Challenger and put an engine in the back.
I was waiting to get to this point.
Yeah, I will say this. This is not my favorite Batmobile at all.
But see, this is where you guys are not consistent. It's year 2 Batman. I thought he's supposed to be building up his whole thing. Why would he have the Bat Tank in year 2? You guys got to be consistent. He didn't get there. So this is the car.
Relax, bro.
This is the car.
Chris, just relax, bro.
I'm just saying.
Chris is on tilt.
You guys are trying to attack. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense.
I'm just trying to make a point, and you keep saying some outlandish stuff.
I don't have a picture of the Batmobile.
Chris now has a straw above water.
It's like
I'm just saying, you guys. It's not your favorite Batmobile.
So,
Chris,
he's 2 year 2.
Can I?
This is the only good part of the movie.
Wait. Hold on. Let me get it. Let me jump in here.
Wait, hold on. Let Scythe finish his point.
The Batmobile wasn't my favorite. I agree. It could have been more Batmobile.
I'm listening. I'm getting a picture of the Batmobile for people watching.
It was the best introduction to the Batmobile, in my opinion.
Yeah, that scene where it's revving the engine is cool as shit.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Down that dark alley when it turns on and the flames turn out of the headers.
The engine's revving. Like I was like, this is like Kit in Knight Rider just chilling in the darkness and you see the red swoosh going back and forth. Like this was amazing.
It did seem a little
because it took their time to bring the car out. He revved it. You heard like a whistle, and you were like, "Is that a jet?" And then all of a sudden, you see a little bit of the car, and then he revs it, and you see the flame, and then he moves forward only a tiny bit, and everyone's like, "We got to get the F up out of here."
Yeah. It was awesome. It was
the staging of that scene seemed a little weird to me though, because correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he laying? Like I don't know if he got shot. I forget exactly what happened, but wasn't he laying on the ground in front of, like they were walking towards his body, and then suddenly he made it to the car without anybody seeing him?
Oh no! He was behind the car with Catwoman when they started shooting at him. Then got behind the car, so you never saw him leave from behind the car.
Yeah. It was very vague. It was very vague.
Oh shit!
It was vague. It was vague.
It seemed weird to me. The whole I love the reveal. I agree with you. I think that was one of the best reveals of the Batmobile. But the whole setup was a little weird.
My opinion on the Batmobile is that listen, I've been an old muscle car guy my entire life. I love that it was an old Challenger because I thought it looked badass. Did it look like the Batmobile? No. Looked like something a year 2 Batman would have built in his own shop by hand? Yes. Did it look like a Batmobile that he didn't need Lucius Fox to provide him the technology for? Yes. You know what I'm saying? So that theme of what we've been talking about, I think it's the right Batmobile for the job.
I agree.
I personally thought it looked badass. I love the. It might be my favorite Batmobile now, just because I love old muscle cars, because I love Challengers. Like, but I might be a little bit biased on that. You know, it's just my personal opinion on that one. It's not the most Batmobile ever. Like, I'll definitely say that. But I'll tell you right now, that chase scene and like we just all talked about, the introduction of that Batmobile is the most badass introduction of any Batmobile we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
We have. Hold on, I got a couple of comments. First, one shot. I apologize. We're all not giving you a shot to talk, but you didn't see the movie, so I mean, I kind of don't feel that bad. But
I've kind of enjoyed him writing signs about Chris.
That is pretty funny. He actually one shot put a question in the chat and says, after watching the movie, do we all think the Penguin should get his own show now? And before
100%.
we answer, Lon 3 Wolf, welcome to the chat, says he doesn't think he should get a show.
It's the lone
wolf.
Lone wolf.
It's Lon 3 Wolf.
Are you reading the same chat we're reading?
LON 3 does not spell lone. It spells Lon. I'm too old to be reading that kind of stuff.
You ever read a license plate before?
This is what happened.
And I would still read it Lon 3 Wolf.
Someone
3
go
Wolf.
back. Someone needs to clip the shit out of that.
After
a question from Lon 3 Wolf.
It says Lon 3 Wolf.
Can't wait to be playing Call of Duty with them and be like, Lon, over here, Lon.
He also said, did it look bat ass? And then he saw himself out, he said. So that's a good joke, Lone Wolf. I apologize. Buttersworth says that he definitely thinks he should get a show. I feel like we're all in agreement. Penguin should definitely have a show after this. I mean, we all kind of see that.
In all seriousness, with the Penguin.
Wait, hold on real quick. Buttersworth says that the Batmobile reminded him of the Thomas Jane car from the Punisher car from that movie, which is accurate. It actually was similar to that. Sorry, Suplex, go ahead.
So, for me in this movie was the first time that we've really seen Gangster Penguin.
I mean, Johnny eats Cocoa Puffs. I love him even more. Go ahead, sorry.
This is the first time that we've seen, and we saw the origin.
Yeah, a real Gangster Penguin.
Story.
Not Danny DeVito with the flippers.
He's the lackey to Falcone the whole time. That when Falcone dies, he ends up taking over the family. Now he's about to become mob boss Penguin.
He's mob boss.
I mean, this was really an origin story for the Penguin that we know and love from the comics.
It really was. And I haven't seen anything like that in any of the movies yet.
No, it was great. It was great.
Lone Wolf, I learned to read from books, not from the internet. So I guess I didn't know that LON 3 says lone. I apologize.
Lone, he plays single games.
Yeah, I don't play online games except for NHL 22, and even then I only see the same 3 friends that I play with. So and there's a lot of racism in that game. So.
Real quick.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. We haven't talked about her yet.
I thought Zoe Kravitz did an excellent job. Like, I don't think there was anything bad about her performance. I do like that Matt Reeves had the foresight to bring in the whole Carmine Falcone as her father, which was a good storyline. Probably one of the more surprising moments, I think, when they revealed that. It's a storyline from the comics that leads into her marrying Batman, if I'm not mistaken. It's actually a newer storyline. A lot of the stuff that came out in this movie that Matt Reeves was taking from seemed to be a lot of newer storylines for Batman and stuff like that. 0 Year, the New 52 Catwoman, Penguin, his stuff like Iceberg Lounge and whatnot. Iceberg Lounge has been around forever, but this version of it was a little bit closer to that version, comic version.
And I loved how mobster accurate they were. They had the club inside the club. You know what I mean? It was awesome.
Yeah. Larry Luck, Larry Luck in the chat just threw out that we still don't know about Martha Wayne's secret. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because apparently I watched a different movie. Didn't they explain in the movie that she was in a mental ward? That was basically the whole thing.
She was a mental case. She had like a lot of dark secrets, whatever that family was trying to keep, whatever.
Larry, they've all told me I watched a different movie, and even I got that. So come on now.
Come on, Larry.
But thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. I appreciate your patronage. Go ahead. Sorry, Zuplex. I apologize.
storyline is a lot, very important, and we learned a couple of things in that film montage. They teased a couple of possible future villains, because they teased the Court of Owls
And Hush, right?
and Hush is the big one.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Hush
Last name be
storyline, so
Elliot.
I'm glad that they're kind of bringing that into the movies.
Having the reporter's last name be Elliot.
Right. But
I
now he
think
wasn't named the same character, right? Like the reporter would have been the
it wasn't
father.
Tommy
I guess,
Elliot. I can't remember the first name, but I
can't remember
trust
either.
me.
I got to look it up.
When I saw Elliot and I saw the first name, I was like, "Oh, it's not Tommy. That means this was Tommy Elliott's dad."
Larry Luck did say that he doesn't think it was enough, that there's something more there that they didn't show us in this movie, which is very possible. It's very possible.
If they delve into the Court of Owls, we'll find out.
Yeah, there's a lot to unfold. There's a lot to unpack there.
I feel like all signs point to whenever the sequel comes out, it'll be Court of Owls. I really think that. My guess is that the sequel is going to be Court of Owls, and then the third one will be inmates from Arkham, like Joker and Riddler and whoever's like still around, kind of almost like teaming up to try and get him.
I think because Matt Reeves has talked about that he wants to do Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I heard that too.
He did mention that. I'd be interested to see his version of Mr. Freeze.
Mm-hmm. Like a more practical Mr. Freeze would be pretty cool.
More kind of down to earth.
Yeah,
honestly, though, if they announced Sylvester Stallone or Schwarzenegger was coming back as Mr. Freeze, I'd be okay with that too.
I would not be.
Hey, Zuplex, I heard a rumor that they might go the route clearly they're going to go a different Joker for some reason, even though Joaquin's Joker, his Gotham fits this Gotham pretty well. Like it would mesh pretty well to have these two characters in the same universe.
Yeah.
But clearly he's going a different route with Joker at some point.
No, but I think the time period is different though. Because like the Joker took place in what era? That was like the 70s, right? Am I wrong on that?
I think so. I'm not sure.
But let's say it was the 80s. This movie takes place now. Or, I don't know, maybe early 2000s. So, I mean,
it's placed in a weird...
They could easily connect them by saying that this version of the Joker was inspired by Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
I guess they could do that. But my point is that they were going to have it be the Joker that lost his sense of humor, that like lost his smile, I guess that they were saying. And that the Riddler was going to be the one that was trying to bring him back to the way he was.
That's
if I'm not mistaken, there was like a comic run at some point where he was actually doing that.
I forget what it was called, but it was Riddler and Joker team up, and the Riddler tries to bring back the Joker smile.
Buttersworth said that the Joaquin Phoenix Joker took place in the late 70s, early 80s. And I want to say the director there said that the idea was he was the inspiration for the Joker that we come to know as Batman's arch enemy.
Warner Brothers said that.
If they do it that way, it makes sense. But
I would like to see the Clown Hunter.
Say it again, Steve. You broke up a little bit.
Yeah.
I would like to see him bring in Clown Hunter if we're going to go the Joker route.
I mean, I think obviously they're going to go the Joker route at some point.
I don't think they are.
Well, I think they are, but I feel like it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be the next movie. There's been too much talking about the Court of Owls, so I think it's gonna be a third or fourth movie. I feel like
they're gonna keep teasing him until the point that they actually have a whole movie about him.
I don't think Matt Reeves ever shows us a real Joker.
He might not. He doesn't seem interested.
There was a scene in this movie that got cut out. I don't know if you guys have seen this
real quick. Trigon 411. Sorry, Trigon 411. I can't say the names wrong or I get yelled at. He says that he's been lurking in the chat. What's up, boys? Val Kilmer is the best Batman of all time. And
he's the biggest troll of all time. Don't even.
You know what? I like this guy. Welcome to the chat, Trigon. You should have jumped in earlier. Sorry, good.
The scene that was cut out was that Batman, before catching the Riddler.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Goes to Arkham to talk to the Joker, a la Silence of the Lambs type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that though. I'm glad they
so happy they didn't do it.
Yeah,
but when
too,
Matt Reeves was asked about it, he said that only reason he was in the Joker in this movie is to show that there are villains already in Arkham.
Right.
There are already villains that have been captured. There are already villains in this universe, and they all get amplified. Which this is a long time Batman trope, that they've all been amplified by the appearance of the Batman. Like that, because Batman exists, the villains get worse and worse and worse.
But that's why I'm
this
saying.
Version,
sorry, go ahead.
but this version of the Joker is not yet the version that we all know as the Joker.
Right.
He's going to get amplified by Batman, but he said he has no future plans for the Joker at all. That he wants to do Mr. Freeze,
because we
wants to
shouldn't
do
have
Mr.
Joker.
Freeze. He wants to do Court of Owls and possibly Hush. Which
Buttersworth,
I think is a much, much better route to take than giving us the Joker again.
Buttersworth says that
If they want to keep Joker as the Silence of the Lambs, the guy at Arkham that Batman goes to interview from time to time to get insight into things, cool with that. I don't need to see Batman versus the Joker again.
Buttersworth says that he thinks the next movie should be Court of Owls, which I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do, and they should introduce Jason Todd, which will make me happy, obviously.
I think it's going to be 3.
I think, I kind of agree with you. I feel like they're going to set up Court of Owls a little more directly in the next movie, and then the third one might be the actual final Court of Owls appear and the whole nine.
They do Hush in the second one.
But now, do they use Riddler? Do they kind of combine the Hush and Riddler character, or do they introduce a separate character, like to your point, the son of that reporter, and make him Hush?
I think they go the true route, the Tommy Elliott route, and Batman's father, Bruce Wayne, killed his father, and that's why he wants revenge, and he figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and he does. And you could bring in Killer Croc, you could bring in Mr. Freeze,
they should bring in Strange,
Batman villains.
Hugo Strange for.
But you could bring in all these other Batman villains, the Hush storyline, because that's what the Hush storyline is.
Right.
Is that Batman's going through all these other villains, thinking that they're Hush, never realizing that it was a brand new villain.
Honestly, if they do it right, I could see them setting up an Arkham City type movie where Batman has to go out and in one night and just capture all these different villains and kind of deal with everybody doing their own thing.
I mean, maybe you do it that way.
We're apparently getting an HBO show that's Arkham.
Yeah, we're getting an Arkham show, a Gotham PD show. Well, no, it's an Arkham show.
No, they
a
Gotham
PD show, and then another show for Penguin.
No,
3 shows.
They changed the Gotham PD show to be more heavily focused on Arkham. Is what I was reading.
So I read that it was 3 different shows. I mean, they could, either way. I mean, I'd be interested. I'll give them a shot. Yeah. I still think that after the Flash, none of this is going to matter anyway. They're going to ruin the entire DCEU.
I don't think this is going to have anything to do with that Flashpoint movie, bro. I think.
I hope it doesn't.
All the other DC stuff.
I hope it doesn't, but I don't have any faith in Warner Brothers, if I'm being honest.
Maybe this franchise ends up boistering new crack at doing something. I don't know. Warner Brothers is such a debacle right now.
Yeah, no, they're all over the place.
Now that Discovery is running the show, maybe they can get their shit together.
Maybe.
Because from what I'm hearing is the Discovery execs are dropping all WB execs and they're bringing in their own people.
Buttersworth says that they can even bring in Calendar Man and Poison Ivy.
So, the people that were running DC film and HBO Max and whatnot is going to be a completely different executive group. So, who knows? Maybe something starts turning around.
I think at the end of the day, I think what we can all agree with is it was a fresh new take, right, on a storyline. It introduced fresh new characters. It doesn't introduce old, worn-out characters. And they can do spin-offs like a la a Marvel movie where they do spin-offs of other characters, right? Lesser characters, which we say, wow, they're played so well, we can get a spin-off of Penguin. No one's ever said that in the history of movies, but we just did, right? So,
true.
I think we definitely got that.
Did you guys? Sorry to cut you off. Did you guys catch the little nod to the? I feel like it's a nod to the Danny DeVito Penguin when they have him tied up and they just leave him there and he just kind of waddles away because his feet's tied up. Did you see that?
Yeah, I can see that being a little Easter egg.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
It was he killed it, but guys, for me, listen, I always I'm glad I got to jump in with you guys.
This
Long
is the
day-
first time all of us were
Yeah, man.
in one pod.
The whole GGEN crew.
Oh,
we
well,
listen.
listen,
We hit almost 2 hours on the stream, so we're gonna have to end it because
I mean,
I
for
got
me
shit to do.
personally, I'm old. I'm tired. I'm worn out. Right? Like I'm done. I'm eating Cocoa Puffs. Like, bro, I'm shot. You know, so I gotta.
You can leave,
like-
John. I thought you were gonna be on my side more. I'm a little upset at you.
No, Chris. by the time this was done, you had me drinking a high noon and eating Cocoa Puffs. That's how messed up you had me mentally.
Hey, I'll take
So-
it. I'll take
I
it.
wanna
And
get
real
John
quick,
agree with more stuff.
wait, real quick, and
Me
then
and you
let's just go real quick. We're gonna end it because it's been going on for a while. I want to say Trigun said this is a dope pod. Fan of all you guys. I appreciate the compliment. Steve,
Trigun, my guy.
one shot. I feel like we ignored you the whole time. You were showing us your artistic skills. Do you have anything you want to add before we call it a night?
No, I'm just tired from all this talking I've been doing.
All right,
Well
boys.
said.
All right, boys. We're getting.
Wait,
What's up?
give us everyone's review right now. Go ahead, Chris. Out of 10.
Oh, I give it a 7 out of 10, and that's like a 6.75 rounded up to a 7 out of 10.
Right, go ahead.
8.5.
Wade.
0.8.
What was that?
Yeah, say it again.
0.8.
8. Did you say a 9.8?
8.8 or 0.8?
0.8?
8.8.
Okay.
Okay, 8.8. All right.
Okay.
We all heard 0.8. The 8 never
Yeah.
cleared
Yeah.
through. And by the way, I was going to agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm also going to give it a 7 out of 10. But I tell you what, it's a promising 7 out of 10.
I give it a 1.
Larry Luck, Braden gives it a 10 out of 10 in the chat.
All right. Hey, listen.
Oh, yeah.
Steve,
Smart guy.
what do you rate
Okay.
it? Even though you didn't see the movie,
He said 1 out of 10, I think.
1 out of 10. Larry Luck says Larry gives it a 7.5 out of 10. It's around like a 7 out of 10. I mean, I know some people go higher or lower. 7 out of 10.
It upsets me even more that
To
I
give you
tried
guys
to
what I
watch it.
didn't like about the movie, man.
Wait, hold
I
on.
tried to.
Listen.
One shot. What
If
did
you
you say?
haven't seen it, you have to.
Yeah. Well, one shot.
So
Go
that's-
ahead.
Form your own opinion on it.
Let one shot talk.
See it.
We talked over him the whole time. Good.
I said it upsets me more that I tried to watch an illegal copy of it and couldn't because it was too fucking dark.
That was your boy Pattinson blocking your stream, man. He was like, "I'm
By
the
the
Batman.
way-
You can't be stealing my shit."
By the way, listen, dude, you have to understand, man. When it's 2022, he's very emo. Okay, he's got the makeup. It's a very dark path he goes down.
And he's got scoliosis. Don't forget the scoliosis.
And he's got scoliosis. So,
Every couple around for centuries, so this is just shoot.
all right,
All right, boys.
guys.
Thank you guys for spending time. Thank the whole crew for jumping in. Thank everybody in the chat for jumping in. I'm sorry if I missed your comments. And I still stand by everything I said. I don't care what anyone tells me. And
Yeah.
we will see you guys on next Tuesday with our next episode 33 of the Theater Room. And we're going to come up with some
Live
crazy
action.
topics too. So,
Live action, Chris. Below water.
well, it looks like John's trying to deep throat. I'm not sure. I didn't do that.
There's kids watching it.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
He was just trying to put a straw down his throat. It's not safe. Don't do that, kids. Later, guys.
I can't stand him. Goodbye.